Welcome to CryoCon. We're sitting in Dallas I'm drawing blood out of my body.
There you are.
Team, I'm here with Simply 03. I just did this great unboxing of their technology. My good friend Micah, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah. What am I doing?
So we're doing IV ozone therapy. So we draw out 200 cc's of blood, which isn't a ton. And then we put it up in a bag just like this. Well, this one in particular. And then we're going to take out ozone gas from a machine over there. Ozone is O3, so it's similar to oxygen in its chemical makeup. It's O3, oxygen is O2, but it's very, very different how it reacts to blood. So we're going to take that gas, we're going to put it into the blood, and after a couple minutes, it's going to turn bright, bright red, and then we're going to drip it back to Freddie.
Yeah. So I've done this before in the past, and from my understanding and research, this is the gold standard of the way to do ozone. It's super safe. It blends very well. What you'll notice is when we start putting ozone into my blood, it's gonna change colors. So maybe if we can zoom in on that bag, it's gonna get kind of rosy. And I think we're gonna do 4 syringes. It's a 60 cc syringe.
Yep.
And then our gamma, I wanna say she's doing 70 as far as the concentration of the ozone on this. You can see this cool little clinical grade unit over here. I have the Stratus at home, but this is something that if you're gonna run a clinic and you want all the fancy dials, you wanna be able to titrate the dose to the correct levels. This is your system. What's this unit called?
Cumulus.
The Cumulus.
We went with cloud names. So
yeah.
Stratus and Cumulus.
Stratus, Cumulus.
Yeah.
I never knew. So it's fun. We're sitting here and I'm obviously, I'm also in a PEMF chair, which is not on right now. There's a pulse on it. We might as well increase the voltage of my cells as I'm increasing the oxygen in my blood. And just for our users at home that may need a refresher course, when we add ozone to the blood, the second the ozone hits it, the ozone's gone, correct?
Yeah, so it has a super fast reaction time. So within milliseconds, the ozone gas is blood, but it creates other properties that we want. So it's actually a little bit of a stress to the blood, and it's used instantly, creates some lipid peroxides and other things in the body, and that's what the body actually responds to. So the ozone is not floating and going throughout your system and killing off pathogens. It's activating your body in a way to do that endogenously. So it helps with the immune system, helps with oxygen efficiency, which is why a lot of people get better energy, reduce brain fog, that kind of thing. Helps with microcirculation, and it actually reduces oxidative stress, which is interesting since it's an oxidant.
Yeah. Remind me just for this, I always remember this, when you move the ozone into the blood, the ozone is essentially, when it's hitting things anything in the blood, the physical matter, the ozone is dissipating and it's releasing that extra molecule of oxygen, correct?
Yeah, so it reverts back to oxygen and creates the reactive oxygen species and the lipid peroxides and those kinds of things in the blood.
And everybody knows exactly what he means. Now, what about the concept of there's now a signaling molecule known as an ozonide floating around in the blood? Is that also happening? No.
No.
Okay. I totally just made that up.
Well, some people refer to it yes, it is a signal. It's creating a signal within the body, and people will call it an ozonide, but they're usually just referring to what happens once you put the blood in, and so they'll say ozonide just for making the concept easier, typically.
Got it.
So you will see that out there, but yeah, that's not usually a technical term that they'll use, but
Perfect.
Yeah, it definitely is a signaling thing. So it's signaling the body to balance out all these complex systems. So that's right.
Yeah. And the other thing I just want to mention is we're here at CryoCon, there's all these different technologies, and it's fun to sit down with, where does the rubber meet the road? How would you use ozone in your clinic just as a supportive therapy, whether you're supporting with detox or, it's full body neuralgia or it's brain fog. There's a lot of conversations around people struggling with long COVID, right? And as these protocols develop, ozone, I often hear in the conversation, because as you mentioned, it has an effect on that endogenous pathway in which the body self-corrects, which for me is exciting. Is there anything you want to add to that?
No, it's just a really good therapy. I mean, we're doing the clinical application today. You can find a clinic that does this. When they say IV ozone, there's 10 different protocols out there. In my opinion, this one is the best. When you pull out 200 cc's of blood, you add in 200 cc's of ozone. All the research is done on that. And then there's ways to do it at home, and it's really safe and it works for a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So my name's Freddie Kimmel. This is either Micah or Mika Lau, whichever you want to call him. You can
I'll go with Micah. Mika's fine.
I know. I like to flip it. It's like forever patterned in my brain. And this is the blood that you're going to see kind of like change colors here. I'm in no pain. Let me say one more question. Like people might be watching this and like, oh my God, she just put a lot of gas in his blood. If you get an air bubble in blood, that sounds dangerous to me. Can we explain why that's not dangerous?
Well, because we're not dripping the gas back to you. We're just dripping back the blood, so you don't see any bubbles in the line here. So the gas passes through, the ozone makes it its reaction and goes to the top. So it's all just an oxygen ozone mixture right up here. That's bioavailable to the body and to the blood. And yeah, there's no air going back in you. So
yeah. And as long as this goes really well, there'll be a follow-up video. So I can feel that's kind of cool.
As long as it goes well, like you won't die or...
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. I'm Freddie from the Beautifully Broken podcast. The technology that we're talking about here is simply O3. And you can go back and get the episode from season 5 in the Beautifully Broken podcast. This is us from CryoCon. Big love.